So then we literally start when it goes to 0, do we?
Yeah.
Holy moly. Do you want to start?
Okay. I will start. Do I say welcome?
Yeah.
Yeah. It may not be the first thing I say. Oh my God. Oh, hello and welcome to this special live stream of The Rest is Entertainment. I'm Marina Hyde.
And I'm Richard Osman. It's essentially going to be half an hour of just the brain explode emoji. I mean,
what just happened? Okay.
Way to
All
throw
my love
away
and congratulations to Alan Carr.
Yeah, amazing.
What a booking. What a booking. There is so much to unpick there. I'm watching a lot of people go to pieces. We've just watched a lot of people go to pieces, Richard.
What we saw there was probably Stephen Fry aside, probably the two most intelligent people in the game being utterly outthought and outmaneuvered by two people who would be less traditionally thought of as intelligent. Firstly, Alan for beating them, and secondly, Joe Marler for telling them exactly from the start of that episode what was going to happen, which was having got rid of Jonathan, it is Alan and it is Kat. And Nick, God love Nick Mohammed, but
you said to me, we said he could get in his own head. I believe that may have occurred, Richard.
Yes, I think that's what's called getting in your own head, isn't it? I mean, God bless David. He was consistent from start to finish.
To the very end, wasn't he?
He really was.
Wrong to the absolute. I mean, really, okay. But Joe Marler also got in his own head because that absolute, having told everyone and they knew which steps they were doing everything in, they're going to pick off David first, as we discussed when we were talking about this last week. And then that vote for Kat is the biggest mistake in the game, right?
I don't know that it was. I think it was the right thing to do because the next thing to do is the second that the second that, I mean, listen, this is one step further on, but when Alan decides to end the game, despite the fact that the person he's just voted for is still there, that would be David. That's the moment that Nick should kind of go, oh, I see it.
Yeah.
Oh, it is Alan. There was sort of what it goes to show is, however intelligent you are, you do not have the benefit that we have of watching this across a month and being able to think about it and talk about it. In the meantime, you are literally absolutely locked away for 6 days and your brain absolutely gets fried. And if Nick Mohammed's brain gets fried, then anyone's brain gets fried. There was only one brain that wasn't fried there, and that was Joe Marler. And I think he thought, great, well, let's get rid of Kat now. That's a simple one. Then I persuade them to get rid of Alan. But something had happened that I don't think we were privy to between David and Nick.
Okay, but okay. All right. So there did seem to be, I agree, a sort of lacuna in the edit. Was something that we didn't quite know.
I would say it's a lacuna matata.
A lacuna matata. But I tell you what, because at the last round table, that was obviously the moment to banish Kat, because of course one of the traitors is a woman. I know I keep saying this, but that was the moment to just logically banish Kat and realize that you're appearing on an entertainment format on a public service broadcaster in the year 2025, and one of them's going to be a woman.
And again, that's the sort of thing that you can't edit into the show. They will have those discussions about the makeup of who the traitors might be, and we would not be privy to those. And by the way, neither should we. That doesn't make for particularly edifying television. But certainly that is something.
You can still write it on your slate, Richard.
Exactly, you can still write it on your slate. But Alan must think it's Christmas. I mean, genuinely, it's like judo. The bigger the guy you're up against, the better in some ways, because you use their weight against them. He absolutely bamboozled two ostensibly very, very, very bright men, and the only person he couldn't bamboozle was a former rugby player.
I thought, I mean, yeah, he actually found the biggest form of mental strength in the end, as in all the way through. He found complete mental strength. I mean, he was mentally incredibly strong, as we've said all the way along. Not only was he brilliant, but he was an absolute insanely good entertainment booking throughout.
Yeah,
and so yeah, I thought his strength in that last episode, and then of course we finally have seen some tears in the celebrity version, because in the normal version you get a lot of tears. It's like I haven't missed the tears, but then I found his tears. Everyone having to apologize to him for the fact he'd won.
But that's, you know, that's genuinely, I think one of the issues with the regular traitors is that thing of the money does actually mean something. So the idea of taking it from somebody else is almost a bigger issue than it is in the celebrity one. I know you're taking it from charities, but in a way we don't ever hear about the charities.
But a charity is still getting it. So
yeah, exactly. So someone is getting it. And so, you know, if you're Nick or David, it's not like, oh my God, I've lost this thing that could have helped my family, you know. So I think they had a genuine that, you know, when Alan, I mean, he was in tears because it was the end of a very, very, very long week, and we've all had very, very, very long weeks like that, and we get to the end of it and we win. So I don't think it was tears of guilt or anything particularly. I think it's just tears of, oh my God, I can stop.
Oh, the tension is dissolved.
Yeah, the tension is dissolved. But yeah, I think he played an amazing last show. I really did. Around the round table, I knew he was a traitor, and I was almost convinced that he wasn't. You know, he probably
really pulled it out the bag. I mean, really, really did. And actually, once he'd lost Kat, that was very tricky.
Yes, yeah, exactly.
To retrieve it from that is phenomenal. And I think that getting rid of Kat then was that Joe Marler putting Kat on the thing was probably the biggest mistake. I used to think the biggest mistake in the game was killing Lucy when they should have killed Nick, but as it turned out, Nick got in the complete.
It was okay in the end. Yeah, keeping Nick there, but actually perhaps Lucy would have found him out. But you know, we talked in after the end of the last episode, there was such a simple route through this for Nick and for Joe. And even if you're Nick, by the way, there's a simple route through it, which is you vote out Kat, you vote out Alan. Yep. Then if you are Nick, you have a choice. You can say, look, if I think there's still a traitor here, if I do think it's Joe, I can vote Joe out. I still win because I believe that one of these two is a faithful. The idea of not voting out Alan, there was nothing to be gained in keeping Alan in. There was zero. Why
did Nick vote to end the game?
Yeah.
That was madness. There were 3 of them left, and he knows as well as anyone who watches the game that what's the difference? There might as well be 2 of you. Yeah, exactly. And as we've said, it is a different form of stakes because it's all going to a charity, whichever one it may be. Yeah, why did he throw the green smoke in?
Because, you know, there have been genuinely there's a conversation there that we haven't been privy to between him and David at some point, right? So, you know, the 2 of them are convinced of each other.
The lacuna.
The lacuna matata.
Lacuna matata theory.
In that same conversation, I'm certain of it, between Nick and Alan, or between David and Alan. So I don't see a single use in any of the game other than Nick thinking perhaps, oh, what if the 2 of them turn on me? You know, possibly. But that aside, I don't think there's anything to be lost by getting rid of Alan. I could not
believe it when those green flames came up. I couldn't believe it.
Yeah, I thought, I mean, I always, you have to do the thing in any show like this of you don't look at the time, because the time will tell you what's going to happen in the show, because you go, oh, they've only got 3 minutes left, so we don't have enough time for another round of voting. So I wasn't looking at the time at all. And yeah, at that moment, I would have given any money that Nick had a final ace up his sleeve and would have gone red and would have got rid of Alan. That he didn't. It just goes to show what a great format this is, because for anybody watching at home saying, oh, we got it wrong, he did this, that, the other, I don't think many people would be able to play this game much better than Nick Mohammed has played it. And that right to the very end, his brain just let him down, and the only person whose brain didn't let him down at any point really was poor Joe. And you know what? It was the friends that let him down. If your brain doesn't let you down, your friends will.
Yeah. Well, David thought it was about the friends he'd met along the way. I think there was he almost actually said that at a certain point. It is. We've talked about what it's meant for it's been amazing for linear television. It's been so extraordinary. I was talking to someone today, and they were saying that it's for the BBC. It has been a huge something like 10% of the time spent on all BBC services has been to do with Celebrity Traitors. And 51% of all the talk about the show happens in the 9 till 11 essentially window that you can see it, or you might watch it on a catch up.
Yeah.
It's the biggest 16 to 34s audience of the year, apart from adolescents. Biggest unscripted ever since Meghan and Harry's Oprah special. Also iconic.
Also iconic.
Also iconic. And that first episode, because of course with the consolidation, it's now the biggest single episode on TV so far this year, and it's likely to be the highest series. So it's been this unbelievable kind of moment where everybody has it. I know it's not saving it all, but I wonder what they'll get to tonight for the live final, because what was Gavin and Stacey at Christmas, like 12.3 on the day or something? I know they
Gavin and Stacey topped over the 20 million in the end, and this I don't think will be far off 16-17 million. But the other interesting thing about it is the, like we talked about on the regular episode, we talked about Dancing with the Stars in the States, which is the American Strictly Come Dancing, and how the feedback loop of going very big on TikTok and Instagram has led so many people, younger people, to watch the show live on ABC. And it's the same with this, because we can all, on Twitter you go, I'm going to avoid spoilers, but with Instagram and TikTok, part of the fun of this show is watching the reaction videos from the people who are in it, and you cannot do that if you haven't watched it live. You really, you slightly missed that wave. And this show has been absolutely incredible for the socials, but the socials have absolutely driven everybody back to watching it on linear TV, which is amazing. I mean, whether you can repeat this, I don't know. I know for a fact everyone will be trying, and they will.
And we know for a fact that the normal version of it that will start in the very early days of January, if it follows the same pattern as it has in the last couple of years, will be bigger than that's ever been before. Because so many people said, I've spoken to so many people who said, I've never watched it before. I sort of felt I was behind it because I thought I could watch the celebrity one because it felt like a separate thing. And now they will all feed into the ordinary version.
Yeah, it's like people watching the Olympics once every 4 years, going, no one told me sport was good.
Yeah.
It's really good. Oh my God, no one told me that reality game shows were good. And you think we've been telling you that for 25 years, and finally one has come along that's proved it to you.
And I mean, it's and I know you're going to stick with the handball for the next 4 years. Now you've become this.
Exactly. Yeah, I watch Handball League now. I went to watch.
Isn't there something about the release schedule that helps? That sometimes you sort of slightly feel with something like I'm a Celebrity, which is another show I love, but you slightly feel like, oh my God, I've got to give an hour or 90 minutes that every single night. Whereas people feel like, I think there's something very clever about not doing it, not having to be every night and not being completely stripped, and it's just two or sometimes three in a week. I think there's something about that you can join in before it's too late, and you think, I'll never catch up.
Yeah, exactly. You got 3 or 4 days to catch up if you really want to. So if you want to watch it live and be on TikTok, you watch it live and be on TikTok. If you're, say, my mum, you can watch it on Sunday or Monday, and you're still absolutely fine. It kind of, and again, these things always look kind of considered in retrospect, and they're not. There's a lot of luck as to why these things work and why these things hit, and a lot of it is, we didn't know that viewers had this sort of behavior, but this seems to suit them very, very well. And there is an audience for whom, scheduled television is like a wonderful novelty. And they're like, oh my God, have you heard of this thing? A show that's on at the same time every week. This is amazing. You have to sit in front of your television and actually watch it. And, there's a joy in that, and it's a joy that
it is like sport. You know, you and I. That this is, if you know, people say sports like war by other means. Traitors is like sport by other means. There's so much to it that you and I, we've talked a lot about this, but there's so much to it, and sitting down, having to watch it at the particular times, but where obviously in the great scheme of things, the stakes are negligible, and yet they are also absolutely everything.
Yeah, I mean, if genuinely, if you think about the emotions you go through in the last 5 minutes of that show, it is hard to equate them to anything else other than sport, other than unscripted drama, which is what sport is, and other than the thing of, oh my God, I knew that could happen. I didn't think that it would happen. And Traitors, just something about the format that seems to just hit that spot every single time. Because, you know, we did think after the last one, I was saying, there's an obvious route through this next episode. Maybe it'd be boring. Maybe we'll finally have a boring Traitors final, because Joe and Nick should be able to absolutely walk this. But again, you forget that they don't have a week between shows. They haven't seen the edit. They haven't seen all the little interviews that we've seen. You know, they are in this environment in the same way. If you're playing in the Ryder Cup, I'm not absolutely comparing it to the Ryder Cup, but if you're in the Ryder Cup, something happens to your golf swing that doesn't happen when you're not in the Ryder Cup.
Yes.
And something happens to Nick Mohammed's brain here that would not happen in the usual course of events to Nick Mohammed. He could be cool about these things and just go, oh no, hold on. There's one guy here who literally we were all asked to go around and say, look at each other in the eye and say, I am a faithful. And he burst out laughing when he did it. Why don't I just maybe think I'm not going to throw my green thing into that? Maybe I will vote out the man who burst out laughing when he had to say, I am a faithful. You know, the very fact that he didn't do that, and the very fact that he takes that extra layer he doesn't need to do, is saying, wait a minute, I'm so convinced that Joe is a faithful. I'm so convinced that can only mean one thing. He's a traitor. You know, which is, we all know that the cleverest people are the people who know they don't know everything, right? The people who absolutely understand that the mysteries of the world are beyond them. You know, that's, you know, people are stupid when they tell you.
Anyone. Yeah. If the most dangerous people are the ones who think things are very simple.
Exactly. Whereas Nick,
that's why we're all obsessed with this show, because that's what politics is now.
Yeah. But
we're he's had we can't think about the world, which is all full of people who think it's very simple.
He's had a whole lifetime of, you know what, counter-intuition has worked for me a lot in my life. It's worked for me a lot. Maybe it's going to work one more time here. But occasionally in life, something turns up that looks like an incredibly faithful, lovable rugby player, and just is an incredibly faithful rugby player. That's just all that's in front of you. But Nick's brain, with the radar that it has, was unable to process that might be the case. It's great. It's about human nature. This is why this show is so wonderful. It's about, we're all idiots. We're all being given so many data points. We're all being asked to make judgments all day, every single day. And it's really, really, really hard. And it's lovely to see that played out.
But it's everybody's got a plan till they're smacked in the mouth. You know, it was watching those plans go out. First of all, another thing I did think was they all had such a great sense of occasion. You know, they really do that end game very, very well. Yeah. Nobody was smiling and laughing in that at all. Like, there was literally none of them could actually find it, which I really liked. Yeah. But yeah, it was we were having to stand up for basically since the end game stuff. I couldn't sit down for any of it. It was too much. But TV moment of the year,
like a shootout, isn't it, where you can't sit down?
I know, I couldn't possibly sit down. But TV moment of the year was Alan revealing it. I was beside myself. He is the king of all he surveys now, I believe.
Oh, I mean, there is nothing that every single channel in this country is not currently throwing at Alan Carr.
What with Alan Carr?
Yeah, I mean, exactly.
You know, he became a different person, but he was still always the same one he'd always been. It was an absolute masterclass in it. So him and Joe have done the best from it.
Joe is definitively the other winner, because he just got it right all the way through. And the two moments, the moment where it became apparent that Nick had written down Joe's name,
the
look on Joe's face was like Bambi's mother had been killed or something.
Yeah.
Just that thought of, mate, I've done everything here. We're teamies, you know.
We're hundies.
Yeah, we're hundies. In the end, when he goes, well, I misread that, and you're like, well, I mean, you sort of did, and you didn't in a funny kind of way. I mean, I don't think you could have read it because it was on a different dimension. You know, Nick should have stayed where Joe was rather than Joe trying to go where Nick was. That's the only error here. Joe didn't make an error. I think he was right to get rid of Kat at that time. I think he knew it was Kat and Alan, and conversations could have and should have been had that would have made that a simple win. But there's nothing ever simple.
Well, they kept putting them in the car. They kept putting them in the cars. Both journeys, they had Nick and Joe together, and Kat and David and Alan together. So they were really trying to put people. It gave them enough time.
We have to talk to our lovely stablemate David about his experience of that, because as a very bright man, I would be fascinated for him to tell us what happened to his brain throughout that thing. What was it that normally serves him so well that served him so ill throughout the entire process? I'd be fascinated to know. And anyone who's been booked for the next series, and there's amazing names being thrown around. Yeah, imagine that now. That's a whole other level of second guessing yourself, because you've seen how other celebrities have done this. You've seen how other very smart people have done it. And as always with the traitors, the mistakes they make next time will simply be a reaction to the different mistakes that were made this time. But
and they will in January, well, they won't in January because that's already been filmed. But anyone who can see either of those games will. I was thinking whether there are things, whether you could, whether there's ways that you could innovate in the game, even if you only did it temporarily. The business of not having, I know we'd laugh about the floor review. You don't have to have you don't actually have to catch a traitor. I wonder whether there could be cash bonuses for getting a traitor.
Yes, interesting. Yeah,
I was just thinking that in the night last night, thinking, I wonder if you could.
What's the show done to you?
But I don't sleep anyway, so at least at this time I've got something fun to think about. But I was thinking, in order to avoid the sort of tactical herding, or some people don't do it tactically, but either way, it's the result of it. You could do cash. You could add to the prize pot.
Yeah, I think. Well, I think advantage and disadvantage of that. Advantage of it is it does, genuinely speak to a genuine flaw in the format. The disadvantage is the same thing, which is actually, as a producer, sometimes you don't really want to draw attention to that, because I mean, we, big fans of the show know it, and people we're talking to right now know it and understand it. But is that generally understood in the nation at large? I don't know, because they're watching a different thing, and it's only if we get to the stage where the players, where you can't even do an edit where it looks like the players are trying to get rid of traitors. That's the point at which you have to do something about the format. If in the next civilian one or the next celebrity one, literally nobody is giving you that soundbite of, I can't believe we haven't got a traitor yet, we've got to get a traitor. If nobody is giving you that soundbite, if even one person is giving you that soundbite, you just put it in and it's easily done. If nobody gives you that soundbite, that's the point at which you have to go, oh, maybe there is a £10,000 bonus for getting out a traitor in the first, 3 shows or something.
Yeah.
I'm glad you're spending your evenings staring at the ceiling thinking about Celebrity Traitors format points.
Well, thank you. I only aim to please you. Now, I liked it. They kept an extra bit of drama in that very end bit, which we never had seen before, because normally they do go, and when we don't see them all at the end. So I liked actually.
That was lovely.
Yeah, and then actually having to see the reactions, that really worked for me, because it's a bit like when we keep talking about Mike Darnell putting more and more reveals in. Why would you not have those reveals in the final?
Well, again, in the regular one you can't, because in the regular one, tensions are heightened. and actually people do feel a bit, in this one, everyone knows it's a game. And I know that during the show that, everyone buys into the artifice of the thing. But the second that spell is broken, the second that Alan says, I'm a traitor, and there's tears, you can see Nick and David are not thinking, oh no, now I need to be nice to Alan. They're thinking, oh, of course, this is fine. Of course, this is okay. Well played. That's, you absolutely bested us. That's nicely done. And, even Joe Marler, who, if anyone would have the right to take offense, it'd be him. No one.
We wanted to see Joe and Nick have a hug, down by the fire pit. We wanted all those moments. So I was really glad that we got those this time.
So the winners are terrestrial television, which has done unbelievably well out of it.
The BBC.
Alan Carr, BBC for sure. Alan Carr. I mean, Alan Carr does more pilots than, I won't say that, but he does a lot of pilots. And I forget this is live.
Somewhere really special, I think.
Yeah. I thought, Joey, producer, can you edit that bit out? And I said the thing about someone doing a lot of pilots. Joe Marler, who suddenly everyone recognizes and sees what it is that he can do and what he can bring to things. Most importantly, the winners are viewers, because people don't have to make these shows, and it's rare these things come along. And I just think of families watching this together, parents watching with kids, grandparents, people at work talking to people perhaps they haven't spoken to in a while. Just a lovely thing to have in the middle of our culture, made by brilliant program makers, presented by a brilliant team, made by a brilliant team. And, this is what television is supposed to be all about, which is making the world a slightly happier place for an hour.
Such a spark of joy in a really darkening world.
Exactly that, and I've really loved our chats about it as well. They've been.
I've loved it.
We'll have to do it for the regular one as well. I mean, tactically, whether we ever get it right, I don't know, but I genuinely find it fascinating, and more importantly, as you say, it's lovely to talk in such a consequential way about such an inconsequential thing. What a time to be alive.
Yeah, it means nothing, but it also means everything.
Yeah, exactly that. So thank you very much, listeners.
Thanks so much, listeners.
To those people watching us live, or people listening to this tomorrow on the dog walk. It's been an absolute blast, and we will see everyone for just one of our regular episodes next Tuesday. Remember those?
I've lost all the days of the week now, Richard. I exist out of time now. So see you next Tuesday.
See you next Tuesday, everyone.